For those of you who are watching the YouTube version of this, I would like to apologize in advance that we don't have time to edit a video where you see alternating pictures of Alex Goff and I for the next 30 minutes. You're just going to see pictures of us at the beginning, and then you're going to see an Angry Marks AMP logo for the rest of the show. But bear in mind that we are doing an audio podcast live right now on AngryMarks.com in the AngryMarks.com/chat, and we just want to share this with you on YouTube to let you know how great WrestleMania was and how much of a fun time Alex and I had watching it, along with our producer, Killer Kev.
Killer Kev, what are your thoughts?
It was my birthday yesterday.
And happy birthday, I might add.
I was going to say, if you missed anything from this weekend, if you were like Killer Kev and you had a busy weekend, you were celebrating your birthday, your wife's birthday, your dog's birthday, every event that happened this weekend for WrestleMania, Dragon Gate USA, Ring of Honor was covered here at AngryMarks.com. So if you missed the results of the second night of Ring of Honor that had the brown out and you want to know what happened, I personally covered that show. If you want to know what happened at the Dragon Gate USA shows this weekend, Stevie J, I believe, covered it. All facets of this weekend was covered at AngryMarks.com, so if you missed it, you're interested, you can go to the website right now and check all that out.
In fact, Alex, the Florida Wrestling Legends show was covered by Emerson Whitner, so we really did cover every fucking thing.
All right, guys, so you want to go ahead and get to the pre-show match that started at 5:30 Eastern Time, the WWE Tag Team Champions Epico Primo with Rosa Mendez versus Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd versus the Usos.
Yeah, this was a fun match. It was a good way to kick off the YouTube/Facebook/WWE.com pre-show. And, you know, they're a little bit nervous. The Usos come out there and they're trying to do their Stomping Warriors Samoan chant, and the crowd's not into it because half of them are still filing into the building and the other half can't hear them. So I think they were expecting people, when I go, ooh, you go so, and nobody did it. And they're like, But that's to be expected. I mean, they still went out there and had a good match regardless. In fact, out of all three teams, they were the most fluid out of all of them. I mean, Epico and Primo are good, but I think they had the pre-WrestleMania jitters too. And Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd, I like that combination because they're both high flyers. But, man, Justin Gabriel committed the Captain Obvious sin of missing a spot off the ropes and then climbing back up on the ropes to do it a second time. It's like, dumbass, when you miss it the first time, just don't do it. Forget about it. He made it that more obvious that he missed the spot. The bottom line on the whole match is that Epico and Primo retained. They were able to do a finish where the Usos put the knees up to block a 450 splash, and then the Usos hit a Superfly splash, but Epico broke up the count and hit a backstabber to steal the pin. So the tag team champs retained, and Rosa Mendez looked hot as always.
And that brings us to the live WrestleMania card, which kicked off Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan with AJ. I thought Sheamus committed a cardinal sin walking out. He didn't get new gear, which is a WrestleMania staple that I appreciate.
I didn't understand that either. He had on the same Celtic cross, the same trunks. I'm like, dude, you're not doing anything special here. This is WrestleMania. What the hell?
If you're not going to come out with new trunks, at least come out with a new ring jacket. I noticed that Sheamus, since his face push, he's been wearing his red, white, and blue trunks, maybe to try to get American sympathy or something. But he's the Celtic warrior who wears American colors.
He wasn't getting any sympathy here because all the people in the crowd were all holding up Daniel Bryan signs. I mean, to the left, to the right, to the north, to the south, everywhere you looked were people holding up signs that said, yes, yes, yes.
Was there any yes chance this weekend at the Dragon Gate USA shows?
Not at Dragon Gate USA, but as I understand it, there were some Ring of Honor chants where they did yes, yes, yes.
Oh, the Ring of Honor show, the yes chants were over. The world champion Daniel Bryan came out in a new spiffy ring jacket and new trunks and kick pads. I expected the internet to blow up after this match. It was an 18-second match. Sheamus hit the bro kick after Daniel Bryan kissed AJ. You know, it's like I posted on my Facebook. You know, WWE doesn't pay by the minute. Daniel Bryan got a good payoff for doing 18 seconds. He is a quote-unquote internet darling, but it plays into the storyline. I know a lot of fans were disappointed because they'd rather seen a long Daniel Bryan match.
Well, let's break it down into the plus and the minus side of things, and I can give you the chemical equation, and we can all break it down into a big formula as to whether or not you should appreciate this. The plus side, Daniel Bryan, the former internet darling Bryan Danielson, is on WrestleMania in a world title match. The minus side, It only went 18 seconds. The plus side, as you said, Alex, he probably got a bigger payday for this than any other match in his career. The minus side, it was so short because they made all that time for Machine Gun Kelly and Flo Rida. The plus side, it sets up an angle where he's going to turn on AJ and blame her for costing him the match. The minus side, everybody who paid $54.95 expecting to see one of the best technical wrestlers in the world do a great match with Sheamus, they didn't get that. So if you spent your $55 to see that, you got gypped. Other than that, I would say you add up the pluses, you add up the minuses, it's a wash.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine just Daniel Bryan marching backstage saying, fuck this. I just got a WrestleMania paid out, but I jobbed. Fuck this. I quit. I'm going back to FIP.
Yeah, Santino has had worse and more embarrassing jobs on pay-per-view than Daniel Bryan. At least Daniel Bryan was in a world title match against the guy who won the Royal Rumble at WrestleMania. All things considered, you could be in a lot worse spots and getting a lot worse payoff.
Kane versus Randy Orton, and quite frankly, I don't have an opinion on it. Kane defeated Randy Orton with a top rope choke slam. At the Wrestling Observer website, Dave Meltzer put, was trying to... it's one of the finishes where the fans knew the finish going in, so they swerved us. I could care less about this match. I used it as my own personal bathroom break. Stevie J, what do you have to say?
Yeah, this match pretty much underwhelmed me too. I don't really think it was anything to write home about. And I know that a lot of people, including our friend Nikolai from the SmackDown Rundown and the SmackDown Recap, were really looking forward to this feud and expecting a good payoff. But I thought they worked what I would more or less call the basic SmackDown match, where Kane gets the heat and Orton fights back, and you feel like Orton's going to win, and then all of a sudden Kane comes out there and gets the choke slam off the middle rope and gets the pin. It's like, really? I just watched a SmackDown match on a pay-per-view I paid $55 for? What the hell?
Big Show wrestled Cody Rhodes in the next match. This is for the WWE Intercontinental title.
Wait. We have to talk about the deadliest catch.
Go.
The deadliest catch?
Go ahead and discuss that, Stevie.
Wait a minute. Deadliest catch? You mean Eve Torres made a appearance earlier in the show?
No, Kev, you missed this completely because of your hectic schedule and everything, so I'll explain it to you. What happened is that Captain Keith Colburn from the Deadliest Catch was hanging out backstage with Santino and Mick Foley.
Oh,
and
Lord.
They did like a 2 or 3 minute long skit where both of them were doing their pirate voices and going, "Arr!" And finally Keith just looks at them each and goes, fishing captains don't actually talk like that. But do you boys know how to eat king crab? And Santino's like, of course we do. And he pulls out the cobra, and he starts to cobra his crab legs. And so Santino is not the only one doing it, because Foley puts on his sock, and Sacco is doing it. And Keith Colburn's finally like, oh, what the hell? And he drops a bionic elbow on his crab, and wouldn't you know it, Ron Simmons walks in. He looks at all of them, surveys the stupidity, stands there for a minute, and you're waiting for the punchline. Finally you get it. Damn!
I was heading up towards Cincinnati last week, and I picked up a guy who was hitchhiking from Florida, and he was heading up to Alaska because he was trying to get on a crab boat before the season starts. And the season starts in like a month and a half.
That's what Deadliest Catch is all about, is these guys who think they can get on this show and make a bunch of money by fishing king crab have no idea what they're in for. And the term they use is the same they use in pro wrestling. They call them greenhorns. You get on that boat and you're totally green and you don't have your sea legs and you're getting thrown around and you're getting all these fishing pots slammed into you. And half of these guys, they break like the first or second day. And some of them last like a month and then they get homesick. And then some of them last the whole season. It's the drama of, can these greenhorns actually make it? But we're getting a little too far afield here. People didn't tune into this to watch Deadliest Catch conversation. They want to know what we have to say about WrestleMania.
Sunday nights on AngryMarks.com. Tune in for the all-new Deadliest Catch podcast with Stevie J and Alex Goff.
Yeah, we'd have to get Alex to actually start watching the show if we were going to do that.
I didn't know if you were going to start talking about Storage Wars or where we were going next.
Oh, Storage Wars. Oh, I'm all about that, Steve.
Don't get Kim on Storage Wars, or this podcast will never end.
Yep.
The next match was for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. The champion, Cody Rhodes, faced the Big Show. Big Show wins. A lot of people before this were saying they didn't believe Big Show was going to win because the Intercontinental title is such a lowly title. It doesn't matter. Big Show got his win against Cody Rhodes. This is the first pinfall that he's had in WrestleMania. It was a fine moment, a fine match. It was as good as you were going to get with these two. The match time from Wikipedia is 5:18. Fine match. Nothing much more to say than that.
Yeah, I would not add too much more than that, other than the fact that this is the only active title in WWE that Big Show had never won. Now, people are going, oh, there's plenty of titles that the Big Show hasn't won, but keep in mind I said active. We're not talking about the Big Show winning the Cruiserweight title or the Hardcore title, which maybe he's actually won. I'm not going to go check right now. But bottom line is, if there was an active title in WWE that was being held and defended on a regular basis, the Intercontinental title was the only one that the Big Show had never had. So he now completes, he's had all of the active titles in WWE. And for Cody Rhodes, I guess he knew he was sunk the moment that Michael Cole said that he had been the Intercontinental Champion for 233 consecutive days. It's like, oh God, whenever they announce somebody's length of time holding a title, you know that guy is losing the title that night.
The next match was Kelly and Maria Menounos versus Beth Phoenix and Eve. I thought Maria Menounos...
This was my bathroom break match. You say it was Kane and Orton. This was mine.
I thought Maria Menounos was the third best worker in the match behind Beth Phoenix and Eve.
You know what? Maria Menounos has a good ass. I will forgive everything else she did in that match just for having to look at her posterior. Thank you, Maria.
It was what it was. I mean, I know my buddy David Buckler wasn't too excited about this match going in. I think he would like to see the women featured a little bit more in a higher profile role, maybe Beth defending the title against a contender that they've built up. This is what they decided to do. I mean, we've seen bikini contests, we've seen lumberjill matches, we've seen nameless, faceless divas on at WrestleMania 25. I don't mind them inserting a celebrity into the diva thing. I thought they handled the Snooki thing real well last year. The Maria Menounos thing, I thought it was fine. I thought it was up to par with the rest of the matches on WrestleMania.
Right. Menounos didn't go out here and embarrass herself. She didn't look sloppy or unable to do things, and they put her into the match in the spots where she would be selling the most and then waiting for her babyface partner to make the tag. So it was an effective use of her that didn't embarrass her, did make WWE look bad, got their token celebrity into a wrestling match, and all in all, for a Divas match at WrestleMania, what do you really expect? There are not going to be very many cases where they actually let the women's champion defend the title. I think we all know the place the Divas are on the card.
Absolutely. And Kelly, they showed a video package before this match, and she is definitely, one of the biggest divas, I guess, today. She's just like every other WWE superstar currently. I don't think you could walk down the street and meet 5 people who know the name Kelly. Unlike, I was watching a DVD from 2000 and China was very prominently featured. And you could say China in 2000 and 20 people would know who you were talking about. But, Kelly, for being one of the biggest stars in WWE today, it's unfortunate that they want her to wrestle because she's very bad at that. And there are actually women on the roster who enjoy having wrestling matches. And I would like to see people featured where they fit in. I'm not saying that I want Naomi Toyota on the roster to have 5-star matches, but, you have some women who wrestle. I say let those women wrestle. I don't understand why they have people in roles where they're not best suited.
Well, and to further your point, Alex, I mean, you got Alicia Fox, who likes wrestling and can actually work a decent match. You've got Eve Torres, who's been coming along ever since she got really pushed into wrestling scenarios. You've got Beth Phoenix, who is absolutely outstanding, technically speaking. Natalya, she's also excellent. But then who do they feature? Kelly.
The next match was Undertaker versus Triple H, end of an era, Hell in a Cell match.
Now, I have to jump in on you, Alex. I apologize for that, but I really have to say something about this pay-per-view and how it was laid out, and the fact that this came at like 7:15 my time, 8:15 Eastern. It felt like the pay-per-view had just begun when this match got underway. It was like everything we had been watching for the last 2 hours, including the pre-show that was on YouTube and the actual matches on the pay-per-view, all became the pre-show because suddenly nothing mattered other than the Hell in a Cell with Undertaker, Shawn Shawn Michaels as the referee, and Triple H trying to beat Taker. It was like the whole dynamic changed, and the pay-per-view started over again right there.
These two guys, this was one of the top 3 matches of the weekend. I don't know where to rank those 3 matches, by the way. We could talk about that a little bit later. 3 blow-away matches. This was one of them. Very intense, very hard-hitting match. Both guys walked away with welts. Undertaker defeats Triple H. What a hell of a match. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Stevie J?
Well, I know that some of the people in our chat room who were watching it live and commenting on it were a little unhappy with the fact that the actual cell itself wasn't used as a weapon, because that's been sort of the gimmick for Hell in a Cell up to this point. But I feel like the Hell in a Cell cage delivered its purpose in the fact that it kept all of them in and kept other people out, to the point that when Shawn Michaels was taken out as the referee, you had Charles Robinson running out from the back, desperately trying to get in the cage, signaling to the other WWE officials, as soon as I get in this cage, you lock it, because nobody else gets in here. And you couldn't hear him say that, but you could tell that's what he was saying. Like, the verbal language and the nonverbal language were adding up to the fact that nobody else goes in, nobody goes out, except for me. And then he gets in there, and he ends up being completely ineffectual, because he gets put out, and then Shawn Michaels becomes the referee again. But I just enjoyed that spot because it really sold the idea of the cell being important.
The Hell in the Cell, is used a lot like a selling point for the match. The cell wasn't used tonight, but it told the context of the story. I mean, these two guys were locked into a cage, beat the crap out of each other. It almost harkens back to like a
Triple H's eyebrow. I mean, I don't know about you, but that was looking like an MMA fight with that huge bleeding wound over his eye.
That was the correlation I was going to make. It's like the Ultimate Fighting Championship. You lock 2 guys in there, they settle it, and then they walk out. And that's what this match was all encompassing. These 3 guys walked in there. And then don't forget about the 3rd guy, that was Shawn Michaels, who was just as important to this story as the 2 guys working. And Shawn Michaels showed what an incredible worker he was by telling his part of the story with only doing 1 wrestling move and taking 1 wrestling move.
Right, and the whole build-up of who's he going to side with, who's he going to favor, and they kept building up slowly as the match goes on, because Triple H is trying to take advantage of his friendship with Shawn, and he keeps yelling at him, "You stop the match, you end it, you have to finish this, you call for the bell." And Shawn would go over to Undertaker and be like, "Do you want me to stop it?" And Undertaker is, "No, don't you stop it, not for anything, no." And he keeps wanting to stop it, and Triple H keeps trying to get him to stop it. And you can tell this is boiling up to a point where Shawn Michaels is going to explode because he can't take it anymore. You saw Taker go 20-0, and this might be the last time we ever see him. You saw Shawn Michaels refereeing, and he's already said he doesn't want to be an active wrestler. He's retired. And Triple H is transitioning to that corporate role where he's going to play Vince McMahon behind the scenes and not be a day-to-day wrestler. So this really was the end of an era. We saw a generation of guys go out here and do what they do best one more time, knowing the fact that after tonight, this is it. This is not going to be happening ever again. Everybody wanted to see what Undertaker looked like tonight, and when I saw him take off the hood and reveal that mohawk down the middle, I immediately thought Road Warrior Taker. And somebody else tweeted me at Angry Marks and said, "No, that's not Road Warrior Taker, that's Chuck Liddell Taker."
Yeah.
What was your impression?
Yeah, it reminded me a lot like Chuck Liddell. You're right.
Personally, I don't know. I knew he was going to have something. I hope he wasn't bald, because I've seen his couple bald photos, and he looked really old. So
yeah.
I thought he looked fine tonight.
And it was actually a good idea, because doing the new haircut with the mohawk down the middle, it kind of took away from the fact that he's been out of the ring for a year, and he got a little... I mean, I'm not one to compare because I have a pudgy midsection too, but you could tell Undertaker got a little bit of a beer gut in his time off. So everybody's focusing on the head and the new hairdo and not focusing on his midsection. So good idea by Undertaker. Very smart decision.
I don't think I could have asked for a better match between Triple H and Undertaker here. Everybody went out, I thought, giving their A game on this one. And, this is an end of an era, like we said. And, you're not going to see guys of this type and caliber in the business ever again. The business has moved on. The business has changed. This was definitely a passing of the torch moment.
Team Johnny versus Team Teddy. There was a lot of guys on here. Basically, if you know their name and they're on the roster and they're not injured, essentially they were in this match. I thought this was going to be elimination style. That's what I told my wife, so I took a bathroom break. It was not elimination style. Zack Ryder was pinned.
And Zack Ryder was pinned by being made a geek. We have to get into this. We cannot leave this fact out. He got sucked up to by Eve, and how he continues to fall for it over and over again. And God bless the guy. I am a fan of Zack Ryder. I've been in the woo-woo you-know-it camp for the longest time. I put up a video of his a theme song composed by a good friend of mine, See No Evil, on YouTube, and it's got over 10,000 views. So you know I'm a broski. I'm in the Zack Ryder camp. I am a Z True Long Island Story fan, and I post those shows every week on the site. But God damn it. How many times, Zach, do you get fooled by Eve Torres before I say, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you? Because you keep getting fooled by this hussy over and over again. And how you fall for it at WrestleMania on the grandest stage of them all, when you've been had so many times before, you have just proven yourself to be the uber dork, because every single time a pretty girl looks your way, you're going to fall for anything she says or does. You have no dignity whatsoever. How dare you come out there and do this to all your fans and embarrass yourself for the umpteenth time after we've been watching you do it on Raw for like 4 months straight now. Thanks, Zach.
2 words for you, Stevie. Pussy whipped. I don't know what the purpose was. I don't know what she was thinking at that moment, because it was confusing and lost, and it confused Zack Ryder as well, and it allows The Miz to pick up a cheap win. But more importantly here than that is we now have a change in the management of WWE with the shows. Teddy Long is now gone. He's gone and over. Thank you very much, Teddy Long, for your many years of service, not only to World Wrestling Entertainment, but to the wrestling industry as a whole. John Laurinaitis, whether you like him or hate him, he is actually a compelling character. And whether you think he's being a heel manager, or not, he's actually doing things that Teddy Long isn't. He's making things happen. And he's getting some personal gain out of it, yes, but he's still actually making things happen, where Teddy Long, on his best day, usually can't get jack shit done unless he follows the Teddy Long flow chart of management, which I'm sure you've seen posted on Facebook and other places quite a few times. So there's now a change in the guard. I am hoping that Teddy Long takes a nice long retirement. I don't if he comes back to the wrestling world after, 5 or 6 months, I will be grateful for that, because Teddy Long is a guy who knows how to contribute. But if this is his time to step out, thank you very much for that. And we're now going into the John Laurinaitis era. I'm very interested in seeing where we go from here as far as the management things go. And the only other thing coming out of this story is, what's up with Eve Torres and Zack Ryder. After this match, Eve Torres kicked what's left of Zack Ryder's balls up between his ass cheeks and left. So, really, I hope this is a wake-up call for Zack Ryder. And I agree with you, Stevie J, on those sentiments. Zack Ryder needs to wake the fuck up. This Hoaxkey is completely ruining his game. But at the same time, wow, this actually feels like real strong character development for Eve Torres. It actually feels like, she means something to the show now. That she's been able to do this. She's not just another diva. Okay.
CM Punk wrestled Chris Jericho for the WWE Championship.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Before this match went to the ring, CM Punk had a meeting with John Laurinaitis, and John Laurinaitis threw in the stipulation, hey, if you lose your temper, you're disqualified, Punk. You will also lose the WWE title. That played no part in this match. These guys.
That actually is character development. Sorry, Alex, but I do have to credit something Kevin said, and I will do so and jump out and let you back in. This was Johnny Ace and CM Punk continuing their feud from last year, with Johnny using his newfound power as GM of both Raw and SmackDown to rub it in and say, you know what, now I can call the shots around here, and the shot I'm calling is, I do what I want and you do what I say, and if you don't play by my rules, I'm going to screw you, because you can't stop me from doing so. So if they did achieve one thing, they achieved that.
Yeah, but you know what? The best part about that was the fact that it set up for such a great match, and it gave you a frame to keep in mind. Punk had to keep his cool in this match, or he was going to lose it all.
And Jericho was purposefully trying to goad him to lose his cool at every opportunity. He's basically begging Punk to get disqualified. Like, your dad's a drunk and your sister's a drug addict. Hit me!
I mean, that completely shaped this match for the whole entire match. And I honestly think that it was better for it.
But for in-the-ring, bell-to-bell action, this match was really awesome. Like I said, there was 3 matches this weekend. I don't know what order to rank them. I'll let people smarter than me figure that out. But definitely this was a good match. Go out of your way to see it. And if these 2 guys have a program throughout the summer, including a match in Chicago for the title, very interested to see it.
Every single bit of this match, in my opinion, was spot on, top-notch, 100%. I don't think I could say that for any match on this card. I'm not sure I could say that for any match on any WrestleMania card over the last several years. This, to me, just really felt like a real special match going into it. It sold off perfectly. And, like I said, at very least, it's match of the night.
Oh, God, if you would have said that 12-man, I would have quit the show.
What was there going to be to cool down before you get to your main event here? And, I wasn't sure if there needed it. Brodus Clay fit right in. Very happy to see it. Very, very well used. And I laughed my ass off.
Yeah, they put some big badonkadonk booties on all of that Bridge Club.
Yeah, this Brodus Clay character is very interesting because, he got a lot of reactions out of people when he first debuted. A lot of fans, I got an internet argument one night with some friends from high school saying, oh, he's too much like the Cat and he's too much like Flash Funk. I dislike this character. This character's awesome. It's something that World Wrestling Entertainment doesn't very often do. I don't know what they do with it going forward, but right now I enjoy it. So I liked how they used it tonight. It was his WrestleMania moment, and that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, it was just harmless fluff entertainment between one serious match and another serious match. So
that leads us to the main event of the weekend, the main event of the year. I don't think there's another match World Wrestling Entertainment can put together that would be bigger than this. And they're definitely going to try tomorrow night on Raw when they go head-to-head against the Kentucky-Kansas game, which will definitely do high ratings, which will probably eat into Monday Night Raw. And a couple surprises, I assume, with it being the Raw after WrestleMania.
Brock Lesnar will come out and give somebody an F5.
I was going to say the guy who made his debut the day after WrestleMania might be returning tomorrow night after WrestleMania Monday Night Raw. This was The Rock, John Cena. It was everything you thought it was going to be and more. The 2 guys, they went out there for 30 minutes and 34 seconds. It was what it was. The Rock didn't go out there and embarrass himself. For all the guys who say John Cena is a terrible wrestler, no, John Cena isn't a guy who can go out there and have a technical classic with anyone. But he took The Rock, who hasn't had a match in a long time, and was able to take him to a main event WrestleMania match. And it's not that The Rock is incapable of...
Whoa, not had a match in a long time? We just saw him had a match at Survivor Series.
Yes, but it was a tag match, and it was not 30 minutes in front of 60,000 people at WrestleMania. 2 different venues, 2 different types of matches. Tag team matches are a lot easier to execute than singles matches. Both guys came out here.
But I don't think we can say that The Rock is rusty because he was working out with his fellow Samoans and Kurt Hawkins and all kinds of people. He was in ring shape. He was ready for this.
Absolutely. And, I'm not saying that carrying The Rock is like having to carry Kelly Kelly to a good match. I'm not saying that. But, for all the people, we have 2 guys who in their eras were not being the best technically proficient wrestlers. And these 2 guys went out there in the main event in WrestleMania and delivered this match. And that's my overall point, is that these 2 guys, like I said, not the best technically, but went out there and had a match worthy of being a WrestleMania main event. The Rock pinned John Cena after hitting the rock bottom, after John Cena got a little overzealous and was going for the people's elbow. I thought it was a fine finish. Todd Martin on the Wrestling Observer website had brought up that, Cena kind of needed to lose this in kind of a fashion that would make the fans feel sympathy for him. He kind of came off as an asshole. He was about to do the Rock's move. Rock pinned him, damn right. I don't think this will be the end of The Rock, though. With him winning the match the way he did, it seems like they need to have some kind of rematch or something. So it'd be interesting to see where they go tomorrow. And something that I noticed that they're using The Rock's pictures already for the WrestleMania 29 build. So maybe there's something there. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But for a main event of the weekend, which this match was intended to be, it was good. It was real good. Enjoyed it.